Humanitarian actors are primarily accountable to the people that they serve. This means the people affected by the crisis. Humanitarian organizations need to engage with affected people in a manner that ensures a relationship of respect and dignity, emphasizing on two-way communication in order to fully understand their concerns and understand their needs. We should deliver what they need, not what we decide they need. Consistent, meaningful engagement with communities affected by crises will improve program quality and impact, as well as lead to a more effective humanitarian response. It will deliver what people need and allow humanitarian organizations to adapt their programs to changing needs. Humanitarian organizations engage with people and communities affected by crises as a matter of course, but this is often done on an individual agency basis. The humanitarian community as a whole has struggled to bring individual efforts together to help the humanitarian coordinators and humanitarian country teams' strategic planning efforts around leadership and effectiveness in regards to accountability to affected people, as well as to help the community as a whole adapt their efforts to changing needs. There needs to be a more concerted push to bring individual efforts together to provide a holistic view of the needs of people affected by the crises and allow humanitarian plans adapt to the evolving situation. This will allow them to respond to the needs of people as identified by the people themselves. How can this be done?
So the Interagency Common Feedback Project in Nepal consisted of a number of project components to better inform intercluster mechanism and the humanitarian country team. One key element was perception surveys. So undertaking micro-perception surveys as a common service to all partners. Basically, in all the affected districts, we're able to, on a monthly basis or on a regular basis, gather perceptions from communities, perceptions about how they felt the response was going, were they participating, what are their needs, what are the information needs. This data was brought in and we're able to undertake trends-based analysis month on month, so we could look at spikes in issues or changes in long-term trends on thematic issues or even geographic issues. Other components also included looking at key informant information, so summarising information related to needs and complaints from a whole range of partners. So over a dozen INGOs and NGOs that were in the response were getting feedback from communities, but that wasn't being consolidated and sent directly up to the humanitarian community. So on a monthly basis, we'd consolidate this feedback that they were gathering into a single mechanism. A third piece of that puzzle was looking at rumour tracking and rumour management. So particularly in this response, there was a whole lot of rumours going around about access to government entitlements, potential outbreaks of disease. For people living in IDP camps, there is scares about wild animals that were nearby. So tracking these rumours and being able to match it by facts through professionals in the area, we're able to combine, first of all, these three different types of information into a consolidated mechanism, so that on a regular basis, the humanitarian country team and the intercluster coordination mechanism would be informed by a broad cross-section of different types of information given to us from the community. And that enabled us to adjust and course-correct our response as required. So over a period of months, we could see that clusters were using this perception data to inform their programming, to overlay on top of needs assessments. Some partners were using this feedback to inform their outreach programs. Some partners were working with media outlets to develop humanitarian content that they could share with people. How to boil your water, where to get safe water, how you should set up your temporary shelter. All this feedback could better inform how we were communicating with people. So in short, this mechanism pulls together a plethora of information from communities, puts it into a single mechanism that we're able to share with humanitarian leaders to influence our response and guide us in our strategic thinking.
In order to help place affected people at the center of humanitarian responses, there are also a few practical suggestions to always keep in mind. Identify the most appropriate communication channels for communities, taking into account the preferences of specific groups. Explore the opportunity for an interagency joint communication and feedback mechanism, using lessons learned from other contexts, as well as the global SOPs on interagency complaints processes. Include the identification of common trends in joint feedback and complaints mechanisms, as well as participatory monitoring. This will help inform any strategic and programmatic decisions. And monitor the perception of affected people of the humanitarian response on a regular basis, as well as the adequacy of information provision and engagement in decision-making.